All right, welcome to the Hunter's Eyes podcast, sports as seen through Marcus Hunter's eyes, and I'm being joined now by a very special guest yet again. It's my man Greg Rufus, and Greg, what's going on, man? Tell everybody about yourself and your podcast.
Nothing much, Marcus. Thank you for having me once again. Of course, my podcast, Throw It Down Big Fella, with my co-host, Darren Randolph. It's on every Friday. Check our YouTube channel at Throw It Down Big Fella. You were on there a couple weeks ago, but I'm excited to be on your podcast talking about your 49ers and against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I can't wait.
Yeah, man, the last time we talked, we talked after the 49ers ended the season for the Philadelphia Eagles after that game, because, once the 49ers beat the Eagles, you guys were pretty much done after that. You won one game after that?
One game.
Yeah, so sorry about your Eagles, but happy about my 49ers. Last year, you and I watched some of the NFC Championship game together when Brock Purdy got his arm blown up on the first series of the game. And, the 49ers, I felt, was robbed of a chance to go to the Super Bowl last year, but got there this year. Man, just, your early thoughts on the Super Bowl week, early thoughts, what do you think are going to be the keys to that game?
Okay. Well, Marcus, I've heard a lot about the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. We know he's getting the Brady treatment, basically, Patrick Mahomes. Like, you can't bet against Mahomes. You can't bet against Mahomes. That scares me. Everybody I know, from their mama to their daddy, is betting on the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Everybody. That's scary. I mean, it's like they don't respect the 49ers. Like, the 49ers are a good team. They have a great defense. Brock Purdy, MVP candidate, Christian McCaffrey. I think the 49ers are going to win the game. I really do. I think, but and the thing about it is, going back to 2020 when you guys played them in the Super Bowl, you had Patrick Mahomes on the ropes. Like, he was hanging on for dear life into that fourth quarter. Like, he had 2 interceptions going into the fourth quarter. I saw this yesterday too on YouTube, and he went in, and I think he had like 3 touchdowns that fourth quarter, but you had him on the ropes the entire game. I feel like the same game plan can come to fruition this time, but not the 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But I think you guys can win it. It's got to come down to defense. You got to slow down Patrick Mahomes. Slow him down. Get him off the field. Just slow him down. Christian McCaffrey's got to have a huge game. I think they can pull it off. And I think the key is Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle, I think.
Well, I'm hoping that you're right. I'm hoping they can pull it off. The key, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and all those guys. But, for me, the key for this game is really going to be, can our star players step up and be stars? I mean, because the likes of Deebo Samuel and the likes of George Kittle, I mean, those Kyle Juszczyk, those guys that were there 4 years ago, those guys that were on that sideline when they had a 10-point lead in the game, and your GM is coming downstairs to kind of soak up all the Super Bowl victory love, and then next thing you know, you lose the game. For the veterans, those guys that have been there, forget Brock Purdy, forget about Charvarius Ward and the crazy stuff that he said this week. I'm going to talk about that later. Forget all about that stuff and those guys that weren't there. The guys who were there 4 years ago, those are the guys who are going to really need to step up, because for everyone else, this is like, oh, wow, la la land, we're here. Those young guys especially, they may think they can get back to the Super Bowl every year, but those older veterans, they know how hard it is to get there, and you don't want to get there and lose to the same team and that same bad man, Patrick Mahomes, again, because if you do, this team is going to get broken up next year, and how many of those same guys will be back on the roster. So for the 49ers, they have to win this game this year. And for me, the key is going to be those veteran players, those guys who had that loss, especially George Kittle. After the Super Bowl, I will be back here, and when I come back, I'm coming with the vengeance. Well, Kittle, you're back. Come with the vengeance, and I hope to see a really big, huge game from George Kittle.
Is this game more important for Kyle Shanahan or Andy Reid?
Oh, Kyle Shanahan, definitely, because Shanahan right now, he's just considered the coach who just can't win it all. He's a good coach. He can get you there. He can get you right up to the line but he can't win it all. I mean, going back to that NFL, to the Super Bowl when he was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons. I mean, blowing that lead to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. A lot of folks can put that. You can put that on the defense, but you can also say, well, your offensive coordinator has to call better plays. He has to run the football against Tom Brady.
Run the football. I was just going to say, run the football.
And the same thing 4 years ago. You had Patrick Mahomes, like you said, on the ropes. You were leading that game, and then you decided to let Jimmy G continue to throw the football. He's Jimmy Garoppolo. You got to that Super Bowl by making sure Jimmy Garoppolo didn't throw the football. And so Kyle Shanahan, what I think he's going to have to do in this game is he's going to have to call this game to win the game, not call the game afraid to lose, or not call the game to prove a point. We don't need to prove that Brock Purdy can outduel Patrick Mahomes. He can't. That can't happen in any world. So let's not try to go out there and prove that. Let's go out there and win and do the things you did to get you there. Dump it down to your playmakers and let those guys make plays. And also, just last thing on that sense, I'm concerned about our defense, because our defense, I mean, the last 2 playoff games, just the run game, I mean, the lack of effort has been just awful. And so it's a Super Bowl. So hopefully these guys come out here and have some effort.
I expect big things from Nick Bosa. In fact, I put a bet down that Nick Bosa record a sack in the Super Bowl, because he hasn't had a sack in God knows how many weeks. And him and Chase, when are they going to show up?
Two sacks. He had 2 sacks last week, but neither one of them was impressive. But Patrick Mahomes hadn't been sacked in the postseason since he was sacked in the Super Bowl, I think, by the 49ers. So I don't know.
Yeah, that needs to change, though. You got to get pressure on them. All the great quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, you need to put pressure on them in order for, I mean, it's just plain and simple. It's like you said, stick to the script. Do not make this a duel, Brock versus Patrick Mahomes. It should be Christian McCaffrey versus Patrick Mahomes, because those are the 2 stars to me. Christian McCaffrey and Patrick Mahomes. Those are 2 stars. Christian McCaffrey, I think, should get at least 20 touches. No more, no less than 20 touches.
Absolutely.
If he gets less than 20 touches, you're probably going to lose. He needs to get at least 20 touches, some screen plays, dump outs, like you said. Debo can run. Hell, I've seen it in my own eyes. He killed us in the Eagles game. The little screen outs to Debo, do that. I think you say sit to the script and not make it a do. Remember when Seattle played the Patriots, and the last play everybody knows, instead of running it with Marshawn Lynch, what does Pete Carroll want to do? I want to throw it, give the ball to Russell Wilson, and make him get the game winner. Why, coach? Just give it to Marshawn Lynch. He was right there at the 2-yard line. I don't want that same thing to happen to San Francisco. So Christian McCaffrey needs to be the workhorse. He needs to be an MVP. In fact, if I make another bet, Christian McCaffrey wins Super Bowl MVP, I'm all for it, because it can't be Brock Purdy. It can't be Brock.
Yeah, if the 49ers are going to win this game, it's going to have to be McCaffrey being the MVP, because Brock Purdy, the 49ers just can't rely on Brock Purdy to win this game for them. And, as we get closer and closer to the game, I mean, I hate to say it, but I am not as confident as I feel like I should be, because I feel like the 49ers are a better team this time around than they were 4 years ago. But I also get this sense that because 4 years ago, it was also Patrick Mahomes' first Super Bowl. This is now his 4th Super Bowl. Been there, done that. This is a normal game to him at this point. So for Patrick Mahomes and, those guys from the Chiefs who were here last year, they may be a little bit more settled in, the 49er guys, because they know the pressure is on. The pressure is so much on them. They have to know, we have to go out there and win this game. And then, the former Kansas City Chief cornerback and now San Francisco 49er cornerback Charvarius Ward. Shout out Mississippi, Macomb, Mississippi. Big fan of Charvarius. Know his family. They're great people. But Charvarius, man, you got to stop talking, bro. You got to stop talking, because
what did he say?
Okay, so yesterday at or Monday or whatever it was, at media day, Charvarius said basically that it's better in San Francisco than it was in Kansas City, just from a player standpoint. and you don't want to give those guys any kind of bulletin board material. They're going to take that and say, oh, it's better over there, huh? Well, we're going to show you we win Super Bowls over here. So that's just one thing. And then, before they even got to San Francisco, Charveria said that, the team was going to turn up Monday and Tuesday and then, dial everything in Wednesday moving forward. No, go to Vegas. Don't turn up, Charverius. We just need you to focus on this football game because you have a Super Bowl ring. These other guys don't have one. And you're playing cornerback. Trust me, Patrick Mahomes is going to take some shots at you because of what you said. And Patrick knows all your strengths and weaknesses because you played with him. So if I'm Charvarius, I would have just kept it closed until after the game. But hey, it is what it is.
I mean, that's just NFL. You know how these folks like to talk and all that. Get some, but I don't know why you want to do to get the greats. You just need to be quiet. The greats, leave it alone. What do you think about the 49ers practice facility? Their complaint that they're playing at UNLV's practice facility. They said the field is bad. Like, do you think that's you think the 49ers are going to come out angry or a little ticked off? What?
My only concern with it is I hope no one gets injured while they're practicing leading up to the game. I think once the game starts and you get on the field and you start warming up on the field, you will eventually get used to how that turf feels and all those things. And so, by kickoff, I don't think or expect that to be a problem. However, it is not something you want to hear about before a Super Bowl. You want all things to be even. And I kind of understand it from the standpoint of when working in Memphis and covering sports in Memphis, you have the Liberty Bowl. Well, one team would get the Memphis Tigers practice facility, and the other team would get Christian Brothers or another, school in the area that had a practice facility. And so one team always felt like they had the advantage because they may have had the better facility, the one that had the more money pumped into it. So, those things aren't necessarily uncommon, but you don't want to see that for a Super Bowl. And the fact that the reports are that Kansas City would not make any accommodations for San Francisco, hopefully that gives them a little added fire. They come out and they say, you guys gave us the crap field, and the Chiefs didn't want to have any accommodations. And we also know the Super Bowl is rigged so Taylor Swift can win. So, hopefully the 49ers can come out and, have all that motivation, because to me, the only way San Francisco can get a win in this game is the 49ers are going to have to blow Kansas City out of this. They're going to blow them out. You can't go into a fourth quarter battle against Patrick Mahomes.
Right. It's possible. Just think about last year. We had Kansas City on the ropes. Now, if y'all just do what we did, but finish the game out, you guys are fine. Like you said, like make it physical for Patrick Mahomes. Like, we've seen this Kansas City Chiefs team is different from last year to this year. Like, they've had a lot of, in fact, they didn't have home field advantage this year, the Chiefs. They had to go on the road, except for their first game, the wild card game. Buffalo, Baltimore. Those were the prime teams I thought would knock off Kansas City. I really thought Buffalo. I didn't think Baltimore would get a chance, but Buffalo, Josh Allen had that game won. Of course, the field goal kicker, wide right. No, Buffalo hates those two words, but right. But they had that game won, Buffalo. I think 49ers got to be physical, just like Buffalo was. Run the ball. You can't make a mistake, Brock. I mean, I think McCaffrey's just in due for like one of those 200-yard, like close to 200-yard type games. Like, I think it's due. I think McCaffrey hasn't had a game like that in a while, has he? Like he hasn't. 150, 160 type. He hasn't really. Yeah.
And one thing that I've noticed about McCaffrey is McCaffrey has another. He's going into another gear in these playoffs. It's like you can tell he knows as a running back he may not get another shot at this.
Yeah,
and so because of that, I've seen him play with a level of determination. One guy is not going to bring him down in the backfield. If you don't wrap this guy up and take him down, he's going to spring a big one. I mean, the big run he had against the Green Bay Packers that really helped San Francisco stay in that game so they could come back and win. Christian McCaffrey, and that's why I say the 49ers should win this game, because they're a better team. Because all those players, they had those key players, the Fred Warners of the world, the Debos, the Bosas, the Kittles, all those guys are a little older, but they were young then. So they should, in theory, be better in their prime, with the exception of Kittle, who may be, maybe on the downside of things. But, you have those guys, but also you have CMC, who is now added to the team, a running back who is the best in the league, and you have Brock Purdy, who is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, that's not saying much, but he is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So I feel like you have a better team. Again, the defensive side of the ball, I'm a little concerned about Chase Young. It's great to acquire him, but he just was loafing against the Lions in the last game. And so I'm not really all that excited about what he's going to be able to do in the Super Bowl, but hopefully he sees this as an opportunity to make some money and he steps up and has a good game.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited for I'm excited for a great game. Just to get a little sidetrack, are you excited for Usher's halftime performance?
I am. I'm very excited, especially now that I know he's going to bring out Lil Jon. I mean, if
Oh,
you're going to have Usher and Lil Jon, like,
Ludacris.
yeah, and I'm hearing Ludacris could be there too. But the fact that Lil Jon, to my knowledge, has never been a part of a Super Bowl halftime, how has that even happened? Just for him to come out there and just say, yeah, those type things.
Right.
Just to have that and get the whole crowd hyped up. So yeah, definitely excited for Usher's Super Bowl halftime show. And I know there's a lot of prop bets out there. Are you having any prop bets, or what do you think Usher's first song is going to be when he comes out? Or what maybe color shirt he's going to have on? Doing any of those prop bets, or you keeping it straight to football?
I could do all that. I think, for one, I think he's gonna come out shirtless. I think he's gonna come out. It wouldn't surprise me. He comes out shirtless or a tank top. I think the first song might be his new song he's got with Summer Love, Summer Walker. I'm sorry, the hit that he has now, because he's got an album coming out the same Sunday, I believe. I don't want him to play new stuff. I really don't, because I hate to say this for all the artists out there, like the old timer artists like that. Their new stuff, it's not as good as their hits. Like, and this is not a shot at directly at Usher. It's to everybody. Like, we want the hits. Like, we fans, we want the hits. So I would rather them start with Yeah or My Way, or something you don't have to call. Like, start with the hits. But I feel like he's gonna start with his new stuff first. But that's just me.
I would hope he would start with the hits, because I mean, again, the new stuff, we don't know that. Nobody
We
knows
don't
that
know.
stuff yet. I mean, you would. I
Exactly.
mean, you have what, maybe 10, 15 minutes at the Super Bowl to get your show in. So hopefully he comes out there and does go with the hits. But I did want to ask you about some of these prop bets, because I think some of these are pretty cool. So there's a prop bet out here on Christian McCaffrey scoring the first touchdown in the Super Bowl. Who do you think is going to score the first touchdown?
Okay. Just because I think the 49ers are going to win, I do think Kansas City is going to score first. I think it's going to be Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, he had that eye of a tiger look against Baltimore last week. He went down the field, zoop, 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 went down to Travis Kelce. I think if you saw it before, did you see what happened before Baltimore? Justin Tucker was warming up, and Travis Kelce got his stuff and moved it and pushed it away. And he had that look like from the beginning. I'm like, oh, Kelce gonna snap today. And he did. They went right down the field, scored a touchdown. He had like 100 yards. He passed Jerry Rice for the most receptions in playoff, which is very impressive. Very impressive. But if I had to bet, I would say Travis Kelce would score first.
Yeah, on the media night, the Chiefs, when they came out with the Niners, they were booed heavily, and Kelce was loving the boos, and he was saying, I like the boos more than the cheers. And so I'm like, come on, 49er fans, don't give this guy any more.
He wants to be the bad. By the way, Taylor's not going to be there.
Is she not?
I don't think she. I think she has a tour.
She has the tour. I mean, the flight would take 13 hours. 13 hours. So she could make it just in time for the game. But
I don't know. But here's the thing, though. I think if the Chiefs do win, I think Travis Kelce is going to propose to Taylor Swift.
Oh my
after the game.
Okay, well, you know what? That actually is one of the prop bets. Will Kelce propose to Taylor Swift after the game if they win? Another one, will Travis Kelce be the Super Bowl MVP? Do you think he could be Super Bowl MVP?
Yes, I think he can. If somebody could tell him what's the most reception, what's most yards for a tight end in a Super Bowl, I think he has that number set. It's probably like a while back. I have to go back in history of that. But if he probably knows the number and if he breaks that number, if he has like a 3 touchdown, 4 touchdown game, it's very possible. I think Kelsey could win it, but it's an MVP. I mean, a quarterback league,
Yeah.
Marcus, and I just think it's Mahomes or Brock. No, it really should be McCaffrey. We agreed earlier. It should be McCaffrey, but I think it's Patrick Mahomes though. But that wouldn't surprise me if Kelsey would win it though. No.
I know. So here's another good one. Isaiah Pacheco with rushing attempts over 15.5 rushing attempts. Over or
Uh,
under?
I'm gonna go under because I just think the 49ers are gonna sniff it out. I think 49ers, well, I know lately their run defense where Aaron Jones against Green Bay and Montgomery and Gibbs for Detroit went in on them. I think Pacheco is just not those caliber running backs to me. I feel like he could probably get maybe 30, 40 yards. I feel like they're going to use him in a receiving game instead of run yards too as well. I think it's 65 and a half. I'll go
Mhm.
under that as well too.
Gotcha. The color shirt Taylor Swift will wear if she makes it to the game.
Red, red and white, the colors. I mean, you know what's funny about Taylor Swift? She's an Eagles fan before she went with Kelsey, and that's what ticks me off more than anything. Like, you can support Travis Kelsey, I get all that, but you're an Eagles fan. You bleed green and white. Like, why are you now? You a Chiefs fan? No, I know plenty of people like spouses that say, "Well, I support my husband or wife, blah 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 blah," but I'm still a fan of whoever. Like Taylor Swift is a diehard Eagles fan. Like, you know what was funny last year? If Taylor Swift and Travis were dating, who was she going for?
The Super Bowl. Oh, she would. That's a good question. I mean, she would have had to have go for Travis. I mean, in that situation.
In
In that
public?
situation, you got to go for the person you're in a relationship with, or
Mm-hmm.
the parents of Travis and his brother last year. I mean, they just had to just kind of be neutral during the whole game. So maybe she could have tried her best to be neutral, but
Sure, sure.
giving Eagle fans a little bit of a love on her next CD after that loss last year to Travis. So, Greg, before I let you go, I do want to get your thoughts, just overall on: do you think that the best two teams in the NFL are in the Super Bowl? Do you think that this is the right Super Bowl matchup, or do you think maybe Baltimore should have gotten in there? Like, what do you think about this matchup?
It should have been Baltimore, you guys. But I'm not mad at it though. Baltimore self-employed la 2 weeks ago against Kansas City. Like they just self-employed. Lamar Jackson, if there was any time for Lamar Jackson to just be old Lamar Jackson, just run, just take
Yeah,
off. It was perfectly second half. You should have done that second half. Like they covered, there was the whole middle of the field, Marcus, was wide open for Lamar Jackson to do his thing. Like he wanted, they want Lamar to be this quarterback, this stay in the pocket. He's not that guy. Like let him be who he is. Like you don't tell Michael Vick to be Peyton Manning. No, you need him to be go outside the like. If they would have done that, Baltimore would you guys would it'd be Baltimore, San Francisco. If he
yeah,
would have just done that, but Patrick Mahomes, I get it, it's Patrick Mahomes, but and it's fun and it's entertaining and all. But I think better matchup would be Baltimore, San Francisco. I really do. It would have been a coin flip for me, but I mean, they got Mahomes. You got Mahomes. You can't go wrong with it because he sells tickets. Mahomes and Kelsey, they sell tickets. Andy Reid, they sell tickets. They sell. NFL is all about the Taylor Swift and Kelsey thing now. So I get it. I get it from a marketing perspective. I get it, but I would love to see Baltimore. You guys, I really would.
yeah. I would have liked to have seen the 49ers get another shot at the Ravens. Brock Purdy was more Lamar Jackson last a couple 2 weeks ago than Lamar Jackson was, with Brock Purdy taking off. I will say this, and speaking of Brock Purdy taking off and just the matchup, I think that the matchup is correct only because I don't I don't think that the Baltimore Ravens as a team was ready for the Super Bowl. I think there were too many immature things that happened in that game for the Ravens that cost them. Yes, Lamar Jackson should have taken off running. Those were opportunities he had. There was the wide receiver. I can't think of his name right now.
Zay Flowers.
Yeah, Flowers, who made all the plays to keep them in the game, but then made all the plays to lose in the game as well. With the personal foul, standing over the guy and spinning the football, you can't do that. And then, trying to dive into the end zone, then the same guy that you stood over is the one that knocked the ball out of your hand.
Why dive at that point? But why dive at that point, though? I don't get it. Just go down. You're at the 2-yard line, run it in the ball, run. I don't get that. I don't get why you have enough. It was first down, second down, like.
And that's why they're not there, and why I believe they didn't deserve to be there, because those young mistakes, those things that young players have to make those mistakes at some point in their career, unfortunately, on the biggest stage for Flowers to learn from those mistakes. So I think that this Super Bowl, with the teams that are in it, is going to be a good Super Bowl. It's going to be a clean Super Bowl. It's going to be a fun Super Bowl to watch. And with that being said, I'm looking forward to watching the game. Again, I'm hoping that the 49ers can get the win, but I'm really going into this game cautiously optimistic, because somehow Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are here again. And I don't think that is just by coincidence, but I think the 49ers are the better team. I think that is why the 49ers are favored in this game by Vegas. I think the 49ers should win this game, but you just can never count out Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Number 6, you guys were tied with the Dallas Cowboys, most championships.
Well, Dallas only has 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. This would be 6. You guys were passed. I'm sorry. You guys were passed.
Yeah. You see my little flag back there, my quest for 6. San Francisco 49er flag from when they were in the Super Bowl in New Orleans.
I thought Cowboys had 6. My bad. You guys were passed.
No. Cowboys have 5, and the 49ers have 5, and the 49ers are trying to go for their 6th. And, hopefully the 49ers can get there. I think they'll stand alone at 6, because I think the Patriots have 7 they have
3. No, they got 3. Patriots got 4. No,
Patriots.
No, the Patriots they got 6. They got 6. Yeah. Man, wait. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Brady won.
Tom Brady had 7. No, Brady had 7, right?
But he won 1 with Tampa.
He won with Tampa, so 6.
Yeah.
That's 6.
They got 6 with Brady. I know, right?
Oh, okay. Can you ask this real quick? If Mahomes wins, this will be his 3rd Super Bowl. Is he on the trajectory to pass Tom Brady as the GOAT?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, just skill wise, I think Mahomes already is the best quarterback this game has ever seen, just from a skill standpoint. But from a wins and being able to get it done and knowing how to, lead those last minute drives to win those Super Bowls and to have the number that he needs to be the GOAT, he still needs at least, I would say, 3 Super Bowls. I don't think he has to get to 7 to tie Tom to be considered the GOAT. But if he gets at least 3 more Super Bowls and maybe 6 more Super Bowl appearances, because I think hopefully after this week he'll be 2-2 in Super Bowl, so he'll still need about 3 more. So I think he can be the GOAT without getting 6. But I think right now I would already put him as the best quarterback that the game of football has ever seen. I like, again,
over Joe Montana, 3-0 in the Super Bowl.
Listen, the Joe Montana, every year during Super Bowl week, I always go back and watch the old Super Bowls, kind of live out the nostalgia and things like that. And when I tell you this year, when I watched the Super Bowl with 23 and Super Bowl 24, the 49ers, Bengals, 49ers, Bengals, then 49ers, Denver Super Bowl. Jerry Rice against the Bengals had over 200 yards receiving in that game. But when I tell you that Joe Montana and Brock Purdy look exactly the same on the football field, when I'm watching that, I'm like, wait, they look alike and they move alike. And now I'm starting to see why people are making the comparisons to Joe So, could
Mhm.
Purdy in the future, be our next Joe Montana, lead the 49ers to 6 Super Bowls? It's possible. But Joe Montana did have Jerry Rice. And, it's like every time he threw the ball up, Jerry Rice or John Taylor was coming down with a catch in the end zone
Mhm.
for a touchdown. So, yeah, Brock Purdy, good quarterback. Joe Montana, good quarterback. But, yeah, Mahomes, yeah, he's definitely better than Joe Montana. And this is when I knew for without a shadow of a doubt that Mahomes was the best quarterback I had ever seen. When they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, there were two different plays in that game, and one in particular where Patrick Mahomes, and you remember this, he's scrambling, he can't find anybody, he's just using his little feet to just
Mhm.
find room, and then he's falling down and throws the football, and
I
it
remember.
hits his receiver in the face mask. It goes over all the defenders, all their outstretched arms, and hits his defender in the face mask. His receiver. His receiver didn't even expect that football to get there. At that point, I was like, the fact that this man was able to pull that off tells me that he might be the best quarterback this game has ever seen.
No
Because
look passes, the no look pass, his highlight reel. He's probably like the best highlight reel ever. Like I thought it was Michael Vick,
yeah,
you know what I mean, or and Calvin Johnson. No, it's Patrick Mahomes.
and he's
Like,
not doing it to be flashy. He's just doing it
yeah,
because that's the play that needs to be made.
it is. It just nobody else can do that. No other quarterback I know can do that. Randall Cunningham probably. People tend to sleep on Randall Cunningham. Like he was
Yeah.
like good. Like,
Yeah,
but
Randall
Patrick
Cunningham.
Mahomes on another level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
only other quarterback passes, even though that was incomplete, that I can put up there would be the Eli Manning to David Tyree,
don't bring that
and
up. Don't
and
bring that.
I know, man, and Steve McNair in the Super Bowl against the Rams. The iconic play when they were driving and he almost gets tackled and he has to put his hand down on the turf to hold himself up to throw the football to complete the pass to keep the drive going. That led to the infamous, play where they came up 1 yard short. But, just to see those guys in those moments step up and have those kind of plays, that's, to me, that's some of those great Super Bowl moments. And hopefully Brock Purdy will have himself a Super Bowl moment during this Super Bowl, and the 49ers will come out on top.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm excited, man. Like you said, like I'm. This is a good game. I just wish Baltimore was there, though. I really do. I really thought this was like that Christmas game rematch. You know what I mean? Like that was a good game Christmas Day. Like I know you lost, but it was
Yeah.
still like I could see this being a Super Bowl, and it's not. I think if the 49ers win, is this the best championship at all the years of? Is this like the one championship? If you guys can beat Mahomes,
I think if there's any a year that Kansas City is going to be their most vulnerable with Mahomes as the quarterback, is this year.
hmm
Yeah, it'll
I
be the
think I think this might be the best one. I of course I had to go back. I don't know. That Cincinnati one was really good. Like
yeah
you
the
said,
drive. Yeah.
the drive. I say it's like two or three. I mean, history. You guys are just historic. It's just I can't say that this one is like the best one, but you guys will beat the Cowboys, break
Well,
that tie. So
yeah, but yeah, that's to me why it'll be big, but also because outside of the two Cincinnati Super Bowls, the 49ers pretty much blew out everybody else. Outside of the ones they lost. They blew out Denver, blew out for all intents and purposes Miami, and blew out San Diego in
mhm.
those Super Bowls. So outside of the ones that they lost, you know, they've done pretty good. So yeah, again, last year would have loved to, or a couple of years ago when they lost to the Rams in the championship game, would have loved to see them go against the Bengals in the Super Bowl
Or
rematch.
the Ravens. Or the Ravens one. That still haunts me. That's why I kind of thought you guys would want the Ravens because you wanted to get that taste back, that lick
Yeah,
back
get our
for
league back
Ray Lewis, Dear Angela.
from the worst
Yes,
officiated and
yes,
called. That
yes,
Super Bowl, we all know that Super Bowl was rigged for the Ravens
yes.
to win that thing, man.
Ray
But
Lewis taking deer steroids and all that. We know.
I know
Like,
it is. Again, like I said, I go back and watch these Super Bowls. I went and watched that one again. Ray Lewis was so slow. Like
man,
he was on his
he
last
was a
leg, and the fact,
statue.
yeah. But
Ed Reed was too. Like, if it
yeah.
was any time to attack those two, that was the Super Bowl because Ed Reed was a step. Oh, Richard Sherman. Oh, I got when I saw Richard Sherman looked like was a step slow 4 years ago too. Like,
Oh yeah, but
who
he
was
got
the guy that killed them the entire? not Tyreek Hill, the
Yeah,
other
one
receiver
Tyreek.
for Kansas City. Just kill Sherman, man. Richard Sherman he should have not played that game. I'm sorry.
No,
Like,
no, no, he shouldn't have. Sometimes, sometimes they let the old guys play for nostalgia.
yeah.
But Greg, look, man, I gotta go, man. I appreciate you joining the show today, the Hunter Eyes podcast. One more time for all the folks out there, let them know who you are and where they can find you.
Oh, you guys can catch me on at Throw It Down Big Fella podcast. YouTube was Darren Randolph.
All right, man. I appreciate you joining the show. And thanks again. And folks, thank you so much for checking out the Hunter's Eyes podcast, sports as seen through Marcus Hunter's eyes. Holla back.